Now, live, KPSP Local 2's Eye on the Desert with Scott Hennessy.
Good evening. Thanks for being with us tonight. We have a great show for you. If riding on water is your thing, you'll be happy to know that you no longer need to make the long drive to the lake thanks to Desert Wake. You don't even need to own a boat or a board. All you have to do is grab onto the cable and get ready to ride. This lake is in Mecca. It's about a 15-minute drive from La Quinta. This cable system will pull you across it. This is wakeboarding without a boat. The cables are programmed by a computer system that regulates the speed at 20 miles per hour. This operator stands by to start the system when you're ready to take off and stop it when you wipe out. The consistent pull of the cable makes it relatively easy for anyone to be up and riding within minutes.
The cables pull you up and out of the water as opposed to through the water like a boat, so there's really less strenuous forces against the body, and it's an incredibly easy learning tool.
Desert Wake is Brian Grantham's dream. He moved here a few years ago from Seattle to develop it. The 4 lakes on the Sunset Ranch Oasis property have been here since the 1990s. Last year, Grantham opened one of them for boating, and this summer, the first of 3 planned cable lakes opened to the public. We saw beginners and experts riding the same cable systems.
We're basically building a family-friendly recreational park here, and we've had riders from 5 years old up to 65 years old. And if you've never wakeboarded before, we put a staffer in the water with you to help you get up, and our main goal is to get everybody wakeboarding here at our facility.
Mitch Kelly lives here in the desert, and he's been one of Desert Wake's most frequent visitors. He usually brings his kids along for the ride.
So I have a 6-year-old and 5-year-old girls, and they both play behind the boat. And my 6-year-old rode the cable the other day for the first time, and they go on the inner tubes out here and the kayaks, and they can't wait to come here, which is a dream for me because this is like Disneyland for somebody like me.
Mitch has been riding for years, and he says the cable systems have helped him improve his skills.
It advances your riding extremely because you're able to do a lot of hits against the rails, the ramp and things like that in a short amount of time period. With a boat, this would take 5-6 times longer to do this, and it would be much slower and also much more dangerous. This is a much more safer environment in order to do a lot of practice in a short amount of time.
You'll see people leisurely floating across the same lake on kayaks, and others enjoying the thrill of being pulled across the water on a raft by a sea-doo. Much more is planned for Desert Wake, including a skate park and a golf driving range. But there is already plenty to do.
This is a 2.5-year effort right here, what we see so far, and we've got a long way to go. But it was important for us to be able to get these cables up, start introducing the product, the concept to people in the desert, because let's face it, wakeboarding and water skiing and wake skating in the desert's pretty unique. And then you talk about tubing and kayaking, it's like it can't be for real. So it's a very exciting project for us. We're happy to bring a unique facility, not only to the Coachella Valley, but to the West Coast. We're the first cable park on the West Coast, and it's only going to get bigger and better from here, but what we have right now is pretty awesome.
All it takes to get started at Desert Wake is a $10 annual membership fee. A 4-hour session on the water costs $35 per person. If you need to rent wakeboard gear, it'll cost you about 20 bucks. So after hearing how easy it is to get up and ride, I decided I had to give it a try. When we come back, I'll gear up, get a quick lesson, and try wakeboarding for the first time. See if I make it up when we return to Eye on the Desert. It was a hot one today, wasn't it? No better time to take a dip in the lake. My goal was not to dip into the water too many times, but to rise up and ride it on a wakeboard on the new cable pulley system at Desert Wake. Just watching the top riders at Desert Wake do their elaborate dances across the water, riding the rails and flipping out over the ramps makes for a fun time. But eventually I had to jump in and try it myself. This was my instructor, Derry. He was the guy doing all the coolest tricks, which I was in no way ready to learn. I just wanted to get up and ride a little. My lesson started on the dock, where Derry offered a helping hand. Lesson 1 is let the cable do the work.
And you're just gonna let me pull you up. It's the same concept as if you were sitting on the ground and I'm gonna give you a hand up to your feet. So here we go, 1, 2, 3, okay. Now there you kind of pushed forward and you push with your legs and you kind of got up on your own a little bit.
All right, yeah.
Okay, so sit back down.
After a few more tips on how to stand up and get the board pointed straight ahead, Derry helped strap me into the boots and we were into the water. Okay, so I didn't get up on the first try, or the second, or the third. By the fourth go, I almost had it. Derry saw what I was doing wrong, and I finally figured out how to stay tight in my upper body and loose with my legs, and I was up. Getting up the second time was much easier. I didn't master it in 15 minutes, but I rode on a wakeboard, and I'll be back to do it again.
It's not bad. Could have done better, but that was fun, I'll tell you that much.
Anybody know?
Just did one thing wrong each time. My legs were too tight a couple times. You gotta be loose with the legs. But next time I'll be going up and back.
Desert Wake is in Mecca. Take Interstate 10 to the 86th South to 66th Avenue. It's about a mile down the road on Lincoln. In case you're wondering where the water comes from, they have a large well on the property. The park offers wakeboarding, wake skating, where your feet are not strapped in, water skiing, tubing, and kayaking. A 2-hour wakeboarding session with gear rentals is going to cost you about $50. You can go online to desertwakeinfo.com for pricing and to plan your trip.